Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without. Let me walk upon the water wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. My faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without. Let me walk upon the water wherever you would call. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander. My faith will be in the presence of my Savior. I will call upon your name. When it gets a little right now, keep my eyes above the waves. When it gets a little tough now, so will rest in your embrace. Hey, I am yours. You are, and you are mine. I am yours, and you are mine. I am yours, and you are mine. You're mine, yeah. Oh.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Real Talk podcast. It's me, Mike, with Asia.
Hi guys.
Let me say my version of sound effects. Fans around the world.
Okay. Insert a
Got my
clap.
sound effects. Hey, yeah. Yeah, all of that. Tonight we're going to talk about preparation for appreciation. Because you have a lot of people that are very unappreciative of where they are now and forever wishing that they were in a better position and not realizing for real, damn, dog. Not that we made it, you know what I'm saying? Nobody, you know what I'm saying? You gotta be Rockefeller, have Donald Trump's billions, you know, but at the same time, not appreciating their journey. And tonight, I want to talk about a little bit of that.
Definitely. So, I have been told by a lot of the very close people in my life that I needed to share my journey. And I was hesitant to do that for a long time because I wanted to get to a better place in my life before I was ready to share what I had actually been dealing with. So, I launched Her Shave Me back on my birthday, 2020. in the middle of a pandemic.
All right. Them
um,
saying go her shake me.
Go Hershey Me, right? Which is now Hershey Me Productions.
Okay.
But you
On
know,
the
I
come up. I
launched,
got you.
yeah, I launched Hershey Me back on my birthday, June 1st. And um I've been putting out videos and expanding the brand and all of that ever since. But if you did not know me, you did not know what I was actually dealing with that entire time. If you've watched my videos, you have noticed that I've had quite a few background changes in my videos. I
I'm
always tend
saying
to be
calling them in like cut makeup. You know what I'm saying? All right.
no. So back in 2019, um, for those people who saw my Knowing When to Leave video, back in August of 2019, I separated from my husband and my husband of 15 years at the time. And that, we're not going to get into why, because that's neither here nor there, but you know, that was a major decision for me to step away from that relationship. And I've already talked about how difficult that was and why I felt like I needed to do that. Um, what a lot of people don't know is within about a month of separating from him, I had an incident with, actually the month before I separated from him, I had an incident with the police, with Georgia State Patrol. And that's another topic for another video. But it became an incident, and they came back in September of 2019 and arrested me for the incident that took place in July. Um, so thus began the downward spiral. Um, I got arrested. I spent what 3 days, 3 days, 2.5 days. Um, by the time I came out, I lost my job and I had no income. I had no money. I had 4 kids. I was still living with my kid's father at the time, but we were not together. Um, and he wasn't working. So, I, was able to get unemployment, but it wasn't enough. It's not enough to pay rent and pay bills and take care of the kids and all of that. So everything started to fall apart. Um,
So in the midst, so my question
uh,
is in the midst of all of this, how is it that you find, because that's a lot. That's you know what I'm saying? Because I've been around.
uh,
How is it? How is it that you were a, you know what I'm saying, I guess not focused, but not just like fuck it. I'm saying fuck it.
oh, I had a lot of fuck it moments, but
Okay, okay. You know what I'm
um,
saying?
it was like when that was happening, like when I, initially lost the job and everything, like I was upset. Of course, I loved my job. I'd been there for years. I was making good money. I could support myself and my family. Um, but it didn't feel like the end of the world at that point. It was kind of like, okay, we hit a bump. We're gonna figure it out. Um, but then we ended up getting evicted 2 days before Christmas. And that was a devastating blow because it was a combination of things. It was, I mean, I had somewhere to stay, but for the first time, I was going to be just with my kids, right? No help from their dad because he didn't go with us. Um, I moved to a different side of town that I was not familiar with at all. And I'm trying to figure it out. And it's 2 days before Christmas, and my kids are going through so much transition, and I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to give them some sense of normalcy. You know what I mean? Like I had no money, $0 in my pocket. I wasn't getting paid till Christmas Eve, and I had to work. So I had to figure it out, and that has kind of been my push through. Right? It's like I got to figure it out because I have these children, and if I don't figure it out, who's going to figure it out for them? Um,
Right.
it's fairly obvious that like if I had someone that was willing to step up, I wouldn't have been in that situation. But that's what it was. So I had to figure it out. And we went and stayed with someone. And um, I tried to I actually, during that time period, I actually had the pre-launch party for Hershey Me. So the idea of Hershey Me started way before it actually started. Um, and I was kind
Right.
of testing the waters of figuring out what I wanted it to be, what I wanted it to look like. So that's when we had the pajama party and like a pre-launch event, but it was really more of like get together with my friends and celebrate, but also kind of have a focus group, right? And ask
Right.
questions and get ideas from people on what they thought, Hershey Me could be or should be. Um, so I still did that. I still stayed focused on this thing that I wanted to try to do. Um, but definitely still had to deal with life. And that temporary living situation crumbled after a couple of months. So I, was working a decent job by then. Um, and I thought I was on an uptick. I was like, okay, tax money came, like, all right, we're gonna save this
Yeah.
money. I'm gonna get a place. A couple of months down, like that's nothing. Like, man, we gonna be straight. And I had, got a lead on a new job. Like I was doing the open mic events. And they hit
Right.
me up like, hey, we want you to come work for us. And I was like, what? I'm gonna work and doing something that I like versus something that I just know how to do. So I put in my 2 weeks notice at the job and had my little money put to the side, ready to get my place. And I had set it up where I was taking the 2 weeks and then I was gonna take a week off to just spend time with my kids.
Right.
And then start the new job. So I moved this time last year. I moved me and my 4 children into a hotel room. And I was like, this is just going to be temporary. 2 weeks at best, I'll be here. I have the money to get a place and I'm about to start this other job. So I'll be fine. But everybody in the world knows what March of 2020 was. It was
Yes.
the world shut down.
Hey, look, the entire world, you know what I'm saying?
Shut down.
Doubt.
So the new job shuts down. Can't work and can't apply for a house, like an apartment and pay it. The money I saved and I had from the job and from my tax money, well, now it's going into this $300 and something a week hotel room.
Right.
And the world is shut down. So the hotel we went to, it's not like a extended stay with a kitchen, right? So I have me and 4 children locked in a hotel room 24 hours a day, no way to cook, no way to, entertain them. I can't even take them outside. You know what I mean? Like we was in the hood, so there's
So y'all, you know
no,
what I'm saying? So y'all was outside literally picking rocks. Like,
listen, you know what I mean? Like we
okay.
was in the hood, in a highway, in a hotel off the highway. It was ugly.
Hey,
Um,
I
and
seen them parts. So
yeah, it was ugly. You remember it was ugly.
I
It
seen
was
them
ugly.
parts. Hey,
Yeah, like it was bad, like bad. And like I can't, like I said, I can't go anywhere. I have small children. I don't have like 4 teenagers who can kind of figure it out. I got a toddler and a 6-year-old who wanna, a 5-year-old at the time, about to turn 6, who, want to go play and want to go be around other people, and everybody's on lockdown. So I can't go to nobody's house. You know
right.
what I mean? Like we're just stuck. And I did that for 2.5 months. 2.5 months. And by the beginning of May, I was like, I was out of money and I had no help. And I had to call my mom and ask her, could we come stay with her temporarily down in Macon? And so I took my kids, my 4 kids, and packed all of our stuff into my little car and drove down to Macon and to my mom's 1-bedroom apartment.
So I'm just saying, was that journey more like a clown car event
It
or
was
a Jed
cool.
Clampett, or
Now
was
let
it a
me tell you
Jed
though. Let me
Clampett
tell you.
event?
The theme was
I'm just
preparation,
asking
right? The
because
theme was preparation. So
okay,
try
all
to
right.
pack all our stuff as much as we could into that car and sticking my 4 kids in my little Sentra and driving down prepared me for future road trips I was gonna have to take with
So
my kids.
so we Beverly Hillbillying it right now. That's what we look
Yes,
like. Okay,
yes.
all right.
Like put most of the stuff we had in storage and then, took basically like a 30-gallon bin for each one of us. Well, like one bin for the boys, 2 bins for the girls, and one for me, right? And because the idea was this is temporary. So I'm
Right.
just gonna put all my stuff in storage and I'm gonna go down to Macon. I'm gonna get a job. I'm gonna get a place. Like the little stimulus money had hit, I had put that to the side, right? And it was like, I'm going to get a job and I'm going to get a place and we'll be fine. And I did that. Now
You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, this is what's gonna happen. As your friend, we're gonna have to talk about Murphy's Law. We're gonna have that conversation. Go ahead.
I just tried to stay
Positive.
optimistic as possible, right? I was just
Got you.
like, no, like the things will turn around. They have to.
Right.
And by mid-May, I was like, oh no, things are not turning around. Like, I can't find a job. And I got turned
This
down
shit is
for
bad.
it shit is bad. Like I got turned down for 4 different places and it wasn't like, oh, because I couldn't get in or my credit wasn't good. It was like somebody would beat me to it. Or it's the middle of a pandemic, nobody's moving. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Nothing's available. So it was like, oh my God. And as I'm there, of course, you're spending more money. I'm driving back and forth from Macon to Atlanta regularly. You know what I mean? Trying to look at houses or trying to go on an interview or you know what I mean? So I'm burning gas.
Right.
And because that's like an hour and 20 minutes from Macon to Atlanta.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, something
Like
like that.
yeah, so it was just like, oh my God. And I got to a point where I was like, I can't do this. Like there's no way in hell I cannot do this. And I remember calling a friend of mine and telling her, I'm gonna have to put my kids in foster care because there's no way that I can do this. Like I cannot take care of my kids. Like I can't provide for them. I can't put a roof over their head. Like it's getting hot down here because we're staying in my mom's 1-bedroom apartment, but her landlord is like, you got somebody staying with you? You know what I mean? So now she about to get in
Right.
trouble. So we know
It's
we
going
gotta
up the side.
yeah,
Going up
you
the
know what I
side.
mean? And I got little kids who you cannot keep quiet all day. So,
Right.
It's like I know I gotta leave. And I'm like, I think I'm gonna have to put my kids in the system because their father's not in a position to take them. And I can't take care of them. Like I had gotten to that low. And probably like I talked to her for hours that night. I talked to you that day
Yeah.
and was
Hey.
like, goodness. And that's one of those moments where you recognize the importance of the people that you keep around you. Because I was ready to give up. I was at my wit's end, and it was my tribe that was like, nah, Asia, come on, you pushed through way worse than this. Like you will figure it out. It may have to get uglier before it gets better, but it will get better. And the day after those conversations is when I put up that initial video, which I'm gonna like cut into this, but it's when I put up that initial video saying, okay, guys, I'm gonna start posting videos on my birthday.
So first, let me just say, please forgive my lash. It's not cooperating today, but thank God for a Snapchat filter. Okay, so life hit, Corona-19 hit, everything shut down, including at Hershey Me, including the Asia Face brand, but it's time to get back on it, y'all. So I just wanted to let y'all know, June 1st, my birthday, will be the official relaunch and re-kickoff. I cannot wait. I have so much hot fire I'm gonna be dropping for y'all. I'm not gonna tell you what, because I don't want to ruin it, but I need all my friends and family and everybody on this page to please go follow that page, so you could be the first one. Thank you for your love and support and continued prayers. I hope you all are safe and well. Mwah! Thank you, guys.
My birthday. So it was like nobody knew. You know what I mean? I'm sitting in my car behind my mama's house. Like nobody knew.
At my mom's house.
At my mama's house. Nobody knew what I was dealing with, but I felt like it was important to still push through because I felt like I had felt so strong and passionate about her, Shameen, that I was like, I can't. The same way I push through for my kids, I have to push through for my dream, and this is my dream. I don't know what it looks like 100%, but I know this is my dream. And I made a decision because I needed to put me and my children in the best situation possible. So what people don't know is that I posted my very first video on my birthday, right? June 1st, sitting in my car. And then the next day, I moved me and my children into a shelter. I decided to launch Her Share Me as an organization to help women build and empower themselves by providing classes and different resources and videos and different things to help us come together, because I've struggled. I've struggled as a married woman. I've struggled as a single mother. I've struggled as a Black woman. I've struggled through so many different phases of my life. And one of the things that I've always been able to lean into is the women around me, the people that support me and help me, the older women and the girls, the sisters my own age who uplifted me and held me. And right now I feel like that is so important to do, so important to come together, like the looting. And that's where we stayed until the end of August.
August.
Yeah. So, you know, we were in the shelter. They were trying to find a program for us, you know, trying to find housing for us. But with the pandemic, like there was no funding for things. There was no, it's just like I had started working, but that job was, yeah. So that didn't pan out well. And, you know, I wasn't getting the support that I should have gotten from who I should have gotten it from. And I got to that point again, right? I got to that point again where I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't do this. Like at that point, I'm dropping like a video a week and I'm smiling in my videos and, you know, doing videos with other people. And I did my first Conversations with a Grown Man with You video. Shout out to you. Yeah. But nobody knew that, like, I was trying to hurry up and do them videos because I had to be back at the shelter by 9 o'clock. You know what I mean?
Hey, look, can't call me.
Like the video that I referenced earlier where I talked about, you know, moving on, knowing when to leave. I'm in the shelter. I just turned all the lights off. You know what I mean? Like, that's why that video was so dark. It's just, but it was still like, people were like, I had so many people telling me, like, why are you putting out these videos? Like, why are you doing this now? Like, you're not focused on what you need to be focused on. And for me, it was like, everything that I'm going through right now is preparation for my appreciation. That was the mantra.
And I mean, I hear you, but because you think reference go back, I'm saying, the movie Pursuit of Happiness. Look at what he went through to get to where, you know what I'm saying, where he ended up. Some dudes, him and his son went through hell.
Yeah.
I mean, life is, I can't even say curveballs. I mean, you call them curveballs, you make curveballs. You fucking meteorites. Fucking meteorites.
Asteroids.
Tearing up the earth and shit. Hey, look. You know?
That's a fact. That's a fact. And
Morgan Freeman, it's like you Morgan Freeman standing on the beach waiting for the tidal wave type shit. That's it. Hey, look, I get you.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I've been in that situation, but yeah, go ahead. Okay, I'm
Um,
sorry.
no, you're good. You're good. You're good. But that's the thing. That's the interesting thing about us having this conversation is that you've been my friend throughout all of this. So you know what I mean? You know that like it's been a struggle. And I eventually ended up, when the thing with the shelter was like coming to an end. And I was like, I still don't have any options. Um, I opted to just leave the state. And I went to North Carolina with my kids, another step in the journey. You
You
know
know,
what I
free.
mean? Yeah. And even that, was for various different reasons still proved itself to be a struggle. And I had moments like in December of 2020, like if I thought I had hit rock bottom before that moment when like I didn't know what I was gonna do when we first got evicted, or when I thought I was gonna have to give up my kids. Oh no, I hit rock bottom in December. And I can very clearly remember being out trying to DoorDash and make some money and sitting in my car waiting for orders to come through. And I'm sitting in the car and I'm in a parking lot. And in front of me, there's a gate, and beyond the gate is the highway. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't have the music on, I'm just quiet. And the noise got really loud. And by the noise, I mean, it was just like, all you got to do is put this car and drive straight onto that highway. You're not even going to survive the initial fall. And I felt it so strongly. Like, I was like, oh yeah, I'm done. Like, that feeling of like, oh, push through for my kids, or what would people think, or I can't leave the people that I love and care about. None of that shit mattered in that moment. You know what I mean? It was just, I was tired, like incredibly tired, and was just like, I can't do this. And I got a phone call from my homeboy who had no idea what was going on. You know what I mean? But I answered it and I was talking to him, and he's just like, what you got going on? Like, it was just, arbitrary bullshit conversation. But it snapped me back. You know what I mean? Because I was like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Like get it. And I got off the phone with him and immediately called the crisis line and was like, I need help because I'm not okay. Um, and from that point over the last few months, I really tried to take more stock of my mental health and understanding that, that push through spirit that I can appreciate, that thing that my mom taught me, right? Like you push through, is that sometimes when you come up against certain things or certain situations or things keep rolling into you, you cannot push through. You have to work through. Like you have
Absolutely.
to take a moment
Absolutely.
to get some help, talk to somebody, lean into someone, you know what I mean?
And
Being
listen to
outside of the
your
shit and
friends.
listen to your friends.
And listen to
And
your
yes,
friends. I
listen
want to
to
put
your
that in there
friends
again. And listen to your friends.
and work through it. Because what happens is if you keep trying to have that push through attitude, life pushes back. And if you don't have the
Astro,
skill set to work through, it's going to push your ass off a cliff.
tidal waves,
Exactly.
avalanches,
Oh,
talking about natural disasters.
yes.
You're
And
saying
that was a,
dinosaurs, extinction, that shit.
yeah. It was a very hard moment for me because I was like, I'm supposed to be Superwoman. I'm supposed to be like super mom. I'm supposed to have it together. Like nobody knows except for like my inner circle what I'm actually living through or dealing with right now. And I've been really good about that. And it's starting to seep through, right? Like
Right.
that's why we had that hiatus in December where we didn't do any videos for the rest of the month because it was seeping through. Like there was no way to hide what I was actually dealing with, you know what I mean? And what I was actually going through. And, I started, talking to someone and truly leaning into my tribes. And I call you guys my tribe, but my Hershey folks, you know what I mean? Like truly leaning into that network and saying, I need help. Because I had gotten so used to being the person that was like, no, I'll help you. And that I didn't know how to say, no, guys, I need help. And when I had that night, I was like, oh, nah. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I need help. And those were not easy conversations for me to have. Like, you know, in the sake of full honesty, I didn't even tell you. It took someone else telling on me to you. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it was just I just had to have that. I'm like, it's okay. Like, you're not always gonna have it together, and you're not always gonna have the answers, and things are going to, you know, sometimes overwhelm you. And I had this idea that like I'd been through so much in my life, I'd experienced so much trauma, I'd experienced varying levels of abandonment and abuse, and that at this point, right, at 35 with 4 kids, like nothing should phase me. And that was bullshit. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Like, no, it's
There,
like,
there. I mean, there. Like you said, there are varying levels of trauma that people that affect people in different ways, but it comes and it also shows up in different ways. So things that you've been through, like you said, it seeps through. Whether you yourself recognize it or not, other people will recognize it in you. And
yeah,
unless you actually accept the fact that I am going through this, I do need help,
yep,
it will continue to get, I mean, it will become toxic
mhm,
to yourself and others.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So anybody out there that's going through anything, I encourage you, really encourage you, hey, seek some help. Now
yeah.
I understand everybody ain't got the good health insurance and they can't, you know what I'm saying, just be out there jumping in
But there's so
on
many
people's
other
couches.
options.
But
There's
is
so
it
many
exactly that's
options available.
and that's what
Yeah,
and that's what I was about to say. You can't jump on everybody's couch. Got it. But you can. It is okay to ask for help
absolutely.
because
And
you will not make it through life on your own. You
um,
can't do it.
it's not possible. It's not
Right.
like it's not, and it's hard for people who are givers, right? Like I'm a giver, so it's very hard for givers to ask for help.
And
Like
say
it
no.
requires and say no, and know your limitations and know your boundaries and know how much you can deal with and cannot deal with, and know that needing to stop or needing help or needing to pause for a minute doesn't mean you failed, doesn't make you weak. It makes you that much smarter because you can at least recognize that you need to pause for a cause. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like,
And the
uh,
cause is yourself. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
There is nothing wrong if it's, especially if it's not at the expense of someone else, there's nothing wrong with self-preservation
amen,
at
amen,
all.
yeah. And I mean, all of that is to say, I had a moment, and that's why we decided to have this conversation now. But I had a moment over the weekend, and I had, you know, we just moved into a place, and after all of that, we finally, a year and some change later, moved into our own space.
Hand claps, congratulations, all that, you know what I'm saying? The party favorites, you know what I'm saying? I wish I had some
And
confetti
yeah,
decorations. Right.
and I was not necessarily bitching, but kind of like lamenting about like I saved up this money and then I got this money and I, you know, paid up a significant amount of my rent in advance. And I was like, oh, that shit hurt. And it was actually Mike who
Hey, you
hit
know,
me with a hard dose of reality. It was like, yeah, that shit might have hurt your pocket, but where were you at this time last year? And I was like, oh shit. Like this time last year, I was still at the beginning. Like I was moving my kids into a hotel room in the hood. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And um now like I'm in another state. I'm You know what I mean? I'm in a nice space and my children have their own space again. And it's like, guess this is, for the moment, because we're not going to stay here for long because I am over North Carolina. But but it's a
Yeah.
choice. It is a choice, not a necessity. Like for me to leave at this point, it's not like, oh, I have to get out of here or I don't have options. It's no, I'm choosing to because it's what I want to do. And that is a very different space than I've been in for the last 2 years. I feel like a lot of the things that I've gone through and situations that I've been in were out of necessity. Like I have to go to the shelter. I have to stay with my mother. I have to go to North Carolina. Like these were things that I had to do. I had no choice. I just had to do it. So to now finally be in a place where I'm like, no, I just want to. And I'm good with that. And so back to to bring it full circle, um, throughout this process, people who knew what I was really dealing with were like, hey, you need to tell. You need to tell people what you're going through. Like you need to tell people. And I was just like, no, because I want to wait until I'm in a place where I can truly show my appreciation. And
Right.
I feel like I'm in the valley right now. Like I'm not in the mud and I'm not in the thick of it, but I'm not at the mountaintop, but that's okay because you have to know how to appreciate where you are, right? You have to know that like when you come out on the other side of something, you're not necessarily going to come out 100% of where you want to be. You know what I mean? Like I want to be a homeowner. I want to there's a lot of things I want to be and I will be, but I am so much more grateful for the valley. You know what I mean? Like I have so much
Right.
more appreciation for the little things that I'm able to do now. Like I when I first came to North Carolina, the first time I went to Walmart, I saw this tea kettle and I love tea. And I saw this tea kettle and it was like an iridescent tea kettle. And I was like, when I get my place, I'm gonna buy it. And the other day I bought it. And it was just that, it was just that. It was like I bought it and I don't have to worry about like, okay, I spent $10 on a tea kettle, but can I feed my kids? You know what I mean? It was
Right.
like, nah, I spent $10 on the tea kettle, I can feed my kids, and I got money in my savings. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and I
That
have a
shit.
job and I can
You
do
can close the
certain
fucking door.
I can close my bedroom door. Like, like nobody
Hey,
understands.
look.
I have been sleeping in one room with my 4 kids for a year and some change. Oh my God. Closing my bedroom door is the best thing ever.
Hey, look.
Like,
Anybody that got kids understands your appreciation for that.
yeah.
So
But it's little things. It's like, I've never been a fan of pink. And I chose to do this in my bedroom because I wanted to be in my space when I had this conversation. But I've never been a fan of the color pink, right? But I, for the first time as an adult, am living on my own. You know what I mean? Like when I stepped into adulthood, a married woman. So I never got to live on my own. I mean, I got kids, but whatever. I never got to live on my own. I never got to decorate a room or a space or a house based solely on what I liked. And so I took advantage and I did pink and teal and just flowers and all kinds of shit around here. Like, and it
hey,
was it's those moments, it's the things that you appreciate. And sometimes God will take you through it, or He won't take, but He'll let you go through it because He knows what's waiting for you at the end. And in order for you to truly value and appreciate what He has planned for you, you have to go through some shit before you get there. And that is the place that I'm at now, where I understand like every little thing I have, I appreciate. For the first time in my life, for the first time in 16 years, I've had to start from scratch. You know what I mean? Like start from nothing. Like I'm buying forks and spoons and like, but the feeling like when I go to the store and I swipe my card, it's not the feeling of like, oh, it's like, hell yeah, like I'm doing this shit. You know what I
right.
mean? Like me and God, like I'm pulling this off. And to know that I been on this journey, and I have managed to take Hershey Me to Hershey Me Productions to what it is now is amazing. Like,
I mean, still got places to go.
still got places to go, and
Still
people to
got places
see
to
and
go.
things to produce.
Right.
But it's
Right.
like Hershey Me started from me going through things in my marriage and my girl tribe wrapping their arms around me and being there for me and feeling like I needed to provide that for other people. And it turned into this. It turned into the podcast and the videos. And now we have the King's Council and we have Hershey Me After Dark and the social media. And there's other things on the pipeline for Hershey Me Productions.
Say that again. The King's what?
The King's Council. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
you know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Like my first foray into being just behind the camera as the executive producer. You know what I mean? Like that Jewel, or the Unholy Ghost,
Right.
has been for the last couple of weeks like on my head, reminding me like, Asia, look how much you've accomplished with nothing. Look how much you are building and growing with nothing. So now as you come into your own and you saving a little money and doing a little thing, imagine what you can do going forward. Like, don't lose sight of what you've been able to do because you're not where you want to be.
Yeah. I mean, people start businesses out of their garages. You know what I'm saying? That turn into, you know, multi-million-dollar industries. So, hey, look, you still got room to grow.
Listen, I'm trying to be the female Will Packer, okay? Like,
Hey, look.
I'm trying to, you know, have a production empire. That is what I want to do. But
Yeah.
I had to figure it out piece by piece, day by day, failure by failure, win by win. And it just feels like I said, I'm not where I want to be, but damn, I'm so happy about where I am. Like, I am so incredibly happy about where I am.
Absolutely.
And I think it's important for me to, and I feel like I've referenced it, but it is so important for me to give a shout out to Mike and Janika and Candace and Coco and, you know, Jewel and John and everyone else who you've seen in various other videos. These people have been my rock for the last 2 years, like, and beyond that, but definitely the last 2 years, like pushing me, supporting me, loving on me, building me, you know, in so many different ways. And if I've never understood the value of intentional family, I understand it now. Not one of these people is blood related to me. That's not to take away from the people who are, but not one of these people is blood related to me. But these people, my tribe, as we like to call ourselves, have unknowingly saved my life, have unknowingly provided opportunities for me, and therefore enhance the lives of my children. Because if I'm good, they good. And I will be eternally grateful. There is nothing I can do to repay what everyone has done and how everyone has leaned in to help me and support me. Mike, you especially have been my ace. You know what I mean?
I tried. I'm trying. I try. I do what I can.
My ace, my co-host, my best friend, my homie, everything. Like, doing this podcast with me, having never done this shit before, you know what I mean? Never said no, always willing to go. Like, I am so incredibly grateful to you. And y'all better like follow Zanzi Ryu. Okay, y'all better make sure that y'all take his classes when he starts offering them again. Like,
yeah.
All of that.
coming to kick an ass near you. That's what we
Yes. But I am like, I know you didn't expect for me to do this, but I feel like it was important to do. Like, I am so incredibly grateful to you for everything and every way that you have been there to support me, to support my family, to support my crazy friends, whatever the case may be. Like, you have been a 100% solid individual, and that is not something that is easy to come by. And especially dealing with someone who was going through the things that I was going through. So I'm up, I'm down, I'm left, I'm right, I'm in, I'm out. And just being patient and
That's
and
that's what good
understanding.
friends. That's what good friends do for friends. They tell you to sit your ass down, but
You know, I don't listen.
yeah, yeah.
But no, but you're right. You're right. You have told me to sit down and to stand up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yes,
And
yeah,
I'm better
all
for
that,
it. All
and
that.
then tell you all that at the same time. Do it all at the same time. I do a backflip. Okay, you good.
And I'm better for it. But I thank you for letting me take over most of the platform just to kind of deliver
Hey,
that message. Because like I said, I do think it's very important. I had a lady call in today, and that's why I said you never know why you go through certain things. And I had a lady call in today for the job, my job, and she got so I work for the IRS, right? So she
oh shit, you were.
yeah, I work for them folks. Don't call me because I
Uh,
cannot help you. Okay.
uh,
But I work for the IRS. And so she called in today. And she actually called into my line by accident. That's not the department she was supposed to be going to. And she was saying how she got a letter and she thought that that was her refund. And in fact, it was what she owed. And it was like thousands of dollars. And I was just like, oh, well, yeah, no, you didn't call the right line. So I'm like, give me a second, let me pull up the number. And while I'm like looking up the number to give her, I just hear her start to cry. Like she is just losing it. And I was like, I'm not supposed to go off script, right? But I couldn't and I could hear her like trying to quiet her kids in the background. And I had a flash to that moment of like sitting in my car and crying and feeling like I can't do this. Like it's too much. It's too much. And I just was like, I asked her, I said, are you okay? And she was just like, no. And she just started to cry. And I told her, like, listen, it's a lot. It's a lot. I get it. I know what it is to be like struggling and then you get hit with more struggle. And I was like, I wish I could tell you more about my journey, but I can't. I was like, but what I can tell you is that things will work themselves out. What I can tell you is that everything that you're going through right now is preparation for appreciation. This may feel like the worst thing that ever happened to you, but it's not. And when you come out on the other side of this, you're going to look back and be like, I got it. I did that. And you're going to feel so much more proud of yourself and so much more better for it. So know that this is just a bump. This is just a bump. It's a hard ass bump, but it's just a bump and things will work themselves out. I promise you. What does not kill you will make you stronger. And if it's some shit you can't deal with, you're going to be too dead to deal with it anyway. You know what I mean? So she started to
okay.
laugh. And she started to laugh and she was like, I've been crying all day. I have been trying to build up the nerve to make this call. I thought I had it together enough to make this call. And she was like, and as soon as you got on the phone, I started losing it. She was like, but you don't understand how much what you just said meant to me. And she was like, you don't know me from a hole in the wall. She was like, but for you to take a moment to give me those words, like, I'm so grateful. And by the time we got off the phone, we were laughing, joking. She was cool. And when I hung up the call, I was just like, yeah. It's like,
I did that.
yeah. It wasn't even that. It was just like, it's full circle for me. Like I understood where she was at. But had I not gone through that, I couldn't have had that. It probably wouldn't have clicked to me to even say those things or give her that level of reassurance. And
Yeah.
so it was preparation, not only for appreciation, but to be able to motivate other people.
That's it. Hey, you heard it here first. You heard it here first.
That's your
Preparation
favorite
for
line with me,
appreciation.
huh? You
Hey,
heard
look,
it.
yeah. You heard it here first. I'm gonna be that guy. At least it wasn't well done.
Right?
You could have got one of them. Well
You're right. Yeah.
done. Okay. But yes, please, anyone that hears this, anyone that shares this, anyone that knows someone that needs to hear this message, please let them know that there are people that care. There are people that are willing to help. You do not bear the weight of the world. And it is not your responsibility to carry the weight of the world. Some of the shit that you worry about is not yours. Leave it alone.
Put it down.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Drop that shit. Okay. I mean, understand, and it's real hard for some people to, and I get it. You got family, you got friends, you know what I'm saying, people are close to you, but some of that shit that y'all are worried about is not your shit to worry about.
Mm-hmm.
And you put more on yourself than you need to, and you end up in that headspace. You can't keep going like that. Some people, I mean, you have people that work themselves into the ground. You got people that worry themselves, you know what I'm saying, to death. That is a thing. And this isn't, you know what I'm saying, the 1970s, I mean, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. You know what I'm saying? Mental health is a thing. If you need help, I encourage you, please seek that help.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you heard it. Real talk. Preparation for appreciation. There's your mic. So next time.
Bye, guys. I promise my background's gonna stay the same for a little while too. I promise.
Oh, I'm saying I like what I got going on here.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna fade to black. Watch it. Okay, I did.
Bye.
Formed against me shall prosper, Lord. It won't work. All you have to do is believe it and receive it. 'Cause it won't work. No weapon. No weapon formed against me, yeah. It won't work. I said no weapon. Oh, no weapon formed against you. Oh, it won't work. No. No weapon formed against me. Oh, you may cry sometimes. You may want to give up sometime, but hang on in there. 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 It'll be alright. 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 It'll be alright.
Jesus.